This is another iRaw podcast.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors. Hello, explorers. Welcome back to Wildly Unplug, or I guess for this series, Wildly Rejected, also known as Becoming the Bison. If you're new here, I'm Lauren, and I am currently in the middle of a challenge to go after 1,000 rejections on purpose. Because the idea is, if I'm not getting rejected, I'm probably not asking big enough. And week 4 felt like a turning point. Not because everything worked out, but because something shifted in how I was showing up to it. This week included the Montgomery Photography Contest. It was the 38th year of the contest, and this year they had their highest submission since 2020 with 320 photos that they had to judge. And I believe there was about 20 winners, 10 for adults and 10 for students. And technically, I submitted the images months ago before I even knew what the 1,000 rejection challenge was, but since the event and the results happened during the challenge, I'm going to count it. And while I was at the contest, I made a decision. If I have to pay per image or per painting, with some of my other submissions, each one is going to count as a rejection because you can win more than once. And someone actually did, just not me. And what made this one interesting is the history behind it. A couple years ago, I entered. It was the very first time I entered this contest. My parents, I believe, had just moved to the area not too long ago, and I was getting into photography, and my dad was like, here, you should try this. And that year, I won the People's Choice with a photo of a bee approaching a dandelion. And you can see the pollen all built up on its legs. And it's one of those moments where everything just worked out and the image came together beautifully. Pun intended. And that's actually the cover for this week's podcast. And when I won, I remember how exciting it felt. And I got to go up on stage and tell everybody all about my vision and how the image came to life. And I was out at East Fork Lake. I was at a conference and I was trying to take some photos. And unfortunately, because of the rain, I had to run away and start going back to my car because I had my really big 600 millimeter lens and my nice expensive camera, and I didn't want it to get wet. So I was making my way back to the car, and I was a little bit disappointed that I wasn't going to get any shots while I was out at East Fork. And the rain hadn't quite hit yet, and there were a bunch of bees over by some dandelions, and I stayed back a little bit because I am allergic, and I was able to zoom in with that high-powered lens, and I didn't even know until I took the photo home to edit it that there were those big pollen sacs on the leg, which was, I think it just really adds to the whole image. I think it's really cool. It's one of my favorites, and it was really cool for people to be like, to see what I see and value the image. But years after that, I would, do the challenge every year. And let's just say my rejection sensitivity, it was getting hit pretty hard. And every time I entered, there was always this quiet pressure, like maybe this will be the year that I win again. And maybe I'll have it figured out what the judges are looking for. But this year was different. This year I walked into the challenge, or I guess not the challenge. I walked into the competition with this challenge in mind and a completely different mindset of bring on the rejections. And something shifted. I wasn't tense and I wasn't comparing and I wasn't waiting to hear my name being called. I was just there and present. I was able to relax and actually enjoy the show. And I didn't feel like running and hiding after the contest was over and kind of walking back with my photos with my tail between my legs. I was fine afterwards. And I found myself watching the judges more closely and still trying to understand what they're drawn to. And honestly, I still don't get it. it really feels like a little bit of a crapshoot sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, yes, I totally understand why that one won. And there are others where I'm like, I'm not seeing their vision. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just subjective. It's unpredictable and something you can't always reverse engineer. And instead of being frustrated, I felt freed. Because if I can't fully control the outcome, then I don't have to carry it the same way. And the biggest win, I was genuinely able to cheer for the other winners. No frustration and no spiral of why not me, just happy for them and appreciation. And that felt like a huge shift. I used to go into these things like just hoping to win, and now I go in, or at least now, I'm hoping from here on out, I'm going to go into it not expecting anything or expecting a win, but just being present and more aware and feeling more peace like I did this past time. Now, this doesn't mean that I didn't go after some big things this week, because I did. I submitted several grant applications with some pretty big asks, and I also pitched an article idea, possibly even a reoccurring one, to Ranger Rick magazine, which would honestly be a dream come true. And I grew up with that magazine, as I'm sure a lot of us did, and it's probably part of the reason why I do what I do, and to be able to help inspire kids to love animals and nature the same way that I do would just be just a dream come true. I'm getting goosebumps now, even just talking about it. And then I also did something else that felt way outside my comfort zone. I submitted a children's book idea to a publisher, and that one almost didn't happen. And because of this challenge, I actually followed through. This book idea has been sitting in my drafts for about a year, and I kept thinking maybe it's not ready, maybe I need to refine it, or maybe I'll just do it later. And here's the truth. It doesn't do any good sitting in my drafts folder. So I sent it. So we'll wait and see. I think I have to wait 8 weeks on that one before I hear back. But at least I know that there is a certain point in time where I will hear back. There were some yeses this week. I had some podcast guests say that they'll be on the Wildly Unplugged show. And I'm excited for them, but I'm not going to share it just yet. And that kind of makes it more fun. It's also kind of a reminder that while a lot of no's are loud and obvious, there are some yeses that are quietly building in the background. So one of the other yeses that I got this week that I can tell you guys about, I applied to be a NOAA marine debris citizen scientist. And they were actually excited to get data specifically for the Key West region. And that one felt really aligned. It's not just an opportunity, but it's something that connects directly to the kind of work that I care about and in the direction that I want to be headed in. What am I trying to say? That this challenge is starting to reveal that it's not just about collecting rejections. It's about moving things out of hiding and into the world, loosening the grip on outcomes, and it's about showing up even when you don't know how it's going to land. Week 4 has been the best yet because it gave me perspective. And maybe that's the real shift happening here. Rejection isn't something I'm trying to avoid anymore. It's something I'm learning to move through, sometimes even enjoy. So if you're sitting on something, an idea, a project, a pitch, send it. Apply anyway, because if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. Until next time, unplug, get outside, and see what develops. Stay wild.
Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.
For more great iRaw podcasts, visit irawpod.com. That's IROARPOD.com.